and your paper is there, and you know you've not got the logo on your website, and you know we're putting stories on and they're not getting in the paper. So they said, all right, well, we'll give you a page every week. So either a Thursday or a Friday. George Osborne stole my Thursday page a few weeks ago because he had his budget. We had it on a Friday, but it's normally on a Thursday. And we have the whole page, so we have like a picture lead and a lead story, a few fillers and some nibs and stuff, and then kind of do that. And my guys now create that themselves, they don't even have to do it. And they're actually been trained. So there's 3 of us now, 4 of us now, that can go into the Mercury, log onto the system and actually upload the content which goes into the overnight community basket, ready to go into the newspaper or on the website. So that's that kind of inside the man kind of context. Is quite funny, really, you know. So that page is great. The interesting thing about that Leicester 101 is they filmed it in the TV studio they've got at the bottom of the Phoenix. And they put these, you know, you've got these dividers that you have about this high. So they put 2, and they took the legs off one and put it on the top and made this little box. So I couldn't actually see the cameraman, that's why it's so bright. And it looks really cheesy for all these cutaway shots that we actually did at the end. But I did that in one take. And I did that straight off the top of my head in one take. You couldn't believe it. And he's done it with about 5 or 6 other people, and they've all taken like 45 minutes to do it. So
can I just ask what the 101's for? Who's is it promoting the Phoenix?
Yeah, the idea was to promote the Phoenix and to use
it
as a way of showing that there's these facilities there and people that work there that can make kind of interesting stuff. And it's about the people they've been interviewing like this are all people that people will know and recognise, like when you're on the Wi-Fi in the Phoenix or around the Cultural Court, doing stuff in the city around, whether it's like poetry or entertainment or that kind of stuff. So kind of, you know, I suppose we're the alternative unusual suspects or usual suspects, and then, but it's finding out, people will know about Citizens Eye, but they won't know about me. So the idea behind this was to kind of get behind why I started it and what my motivations were and all that sort of stuff, to kind of make it about the individuals that drive organisations rather than just the organisations themselves. So an interesting project anyway. It's a bit of fun. My mum and dad like it, so they're quite proud. My kids now call me One Take Costa, which I think is quite funny. She call me Dad. Right. Okay. So what we'll do is we'll dive into this. Like I said, if you've got any questions, just shout up and I'll answer them. Okay.
You've got your clicker.
Click it. Yeah. I was going to use that one. Explain that one first. Is it the top one or?
It's the side.
Yeah.
That should work.
Citizens Eye is the portal news agency online. What we decided to do is, when we went into partnership with Mercury, with the Mercury and stuff, is to take out all of the training and all of the events and all that kind of stuff that I was doing in that, and set up something called the Reportage Club or Reportage Club, so people could, it's something people to join. You know, it doesn't cost any money to join, just fill a form out. And then the idea is, if we put an event on, so I organised like Leicester's Documentary Film Festival for a day back in January. We took over the Phoenix and we showed like 50 films in 12 hours and stuff like this. And we had some music, we put a bit of a marketplace on as well. And the idea was that it just gave all of our community reporters an opportunity to come together and cover an event. So we do a lot of stuff around meeting up online or through Twitter and Facebook. So I find, and I'm saying this to Stuart, the more you do online, more the value of face-to-face stuff goes up, actually physically meeting people. Certainly with all of the news agencies that we've got, you know, to meet someone from another news agency you might know from Facebook or a group that you've joined is quite good. So Reportage Club does all of the taster sessions we do, the community news cafes, which I'll come on to, all of the events and any kind of sessions and stuff. And that leaves Citizens Eye just to be like a community news agency. Right, this is the back of the flyer. Cheated really, didn't have to type it all out. There's a list of all the social media we use, obviously, but here at the top you'll see they're the news agencies. There's another one there that we've just set up called Ride Leicester, which is a brand that's always existed for all of the cycling organisations in the city and the county to come under one banner, if you like. So they're refurbing the bike park, so Ride Leicester will be the news agency that sets up in the bike park. Hat News is, I'll just, rather than explaining what they are, because obviously it's self-explanatory, behind the names, Hat News, I came up with the name Hat News because it was wherever I lay my hat's my home. Yeah, cheesy song by someone when I was younger. But Hat News stood for here and there. So they're here now and they're nothing, literally nothing. The first editor, Elisha, had been here for 6.5 years and he was nothing. You know, I used to go every Thursday up to Loughborough and literally be strip searched, you know, and had to borrow the money off the Red Cross to get there for 6.5 years. Yet he'd been a media worker back in Zimbabwe. So it's here and there. Here, there's nothing. There, there's somebody, there's something. And the idea behind that was to enable anybody who was a refugee and asylum seeker within a media setting could get involved in writing content and stuff like that, or make a film, or do some interviews, take some photographs, host it on Hat News, and then when they got their status, congratulations, you're no longer a number, you're a person. They'd already been working as a volunteer on creating a portfolio for them to be able to either get a job in McDonald's, yeah, or to actually go to DMU and like start a course, that kind of stuff, you know. Because again, funny enough, when I had 30 seconds to leave and I left my kids, I didn't think of taking my A-level certificate with me when I jumped out the window. Okay? And you hear all these horror stories about how people end up here. And it's easy for us not to like them because they're only a number. As soon as you know what their story is, you know, when I get people telling me about, the woman said to me, John, let me go, save yourself, and she just slipped under the water. You know, you can't live with that. I defy anybody then to have an opinion about refugee and asylum seekers. You know, if you only get your view of those people from the mainstream media, you won't like those people. When you meet them, they are human beings, you know. So the first 3 editors of that have all got their status from the UK Border Agency, and that's probably one of the proudest things that I have about that those people now, I still speak to them, but they've all gone off. One guy's getting married in April, back in Botswana, and he's going to be bringing his wife over. One guy's brought his kids over, worked last summer for Nottingham University, stuff like that. That's why I do what I do. You know what I mean? It's not all this kind of glory rubbish. It's about helping people to help themselves. They don't help anybody, they help themselves. I Know Mag is ex-offenders, so that's inside and out. You know what I mean? It came out of my own experience. I've been back to Welford Road now, where I spent the first week in Leicester, and I've spoken to prison officers there about I don't know, random acts of kindness, really. You know what I mean? It's one of those things. I've been in the army, yeah, there's lots of shouting and screaming, lots of nasty people and stuff, but you know, everyone's innocent in prison. It's quite interesting. But I got invited back to speak to the prison officers. It was about being able to explain what the situation was like without giving it the bigger. You know what I mean? I didn't have to. You see anyone standing there like that, they've probably been to prison. Why? Because there's no pockets in jail. You know, that kind of stuff. You know, and you stand around the clock tower in Leicester, and you can see all these different people that are doing different things. You know, it's quite interesting. DZ Disability, WAVE, young people. We produced this inside the Leicester Mercury. We've done 15 now, 15 issues, 15 months, and this is the only newspaper of its kind in the UK, the only one we can find in the world actually, and it's written, sourced and edited, so I'm one of the adult mentors for it, so I can't write for it, I'm just slightly over 25. Written, sourced and edited by 7 to 25-year-olds in Leicester. We've got 375 young people that volunteer for this. And then we have a Saturday club called Wave Club, where kids come and do all the photography and radio sessions and stuff. So it comes out once a month, last Wednesday of the month, inside the Mercury as a new supplement. So yeah, quite proud of that. It's pretty cool. Senior Eye, older people, down not out. Again, we were having a conversation about homelessness. They're not down and out, they're down not out. You know? And we went out and did a bit of a survey in Town Hall Square, where all the down and outs hang out, drinking. And we're talking to all the people sitting around, and what we suddenly realised, that everybody who was homeless, yeah, was a white male of indeterminate age who probably was domestically violent, had probably been to prison, probably had a drug problem, probably had an alcohol problem, had probably been to prison, and that's actually not true. That's completely inaccurate. So we actually worked with Action Homeless, who's our lead partner. We have a lead partner on each news agency, and one of their trustees slept out. That's the average number of nights that people sleep rough in Leicester before they access a service is 5 nights. And he got to 3 nights, and on the 4th night, he got offered a place at a hostel, so then he fessed up who he was, you know, so that he didn't actually take that place. And we followed him every day, and we built a blog about hiding in the open, you know. And I wrote up this thing about the 3 days in 24 hours, what he'd done in 24 hours. And someone had sent me an email and said, can you tell me what he did on the other days? No, well I think what you'll find is what happened in those 4 days we've put into 24 hours because it's boring. You know, he sat out in John Lewis waiting for him to throw him out, and he sat in the library, and he sat in a coffee shop where he bought the cheapest breakfast in town and then spent 4 hours in there, that kind of stuff. So again, we're all about breaking down barriers and myth busting and stuff like E-Willing is about African development, enterprise with Africa, local and international news, and the only reason we do that is because we get quite a lot of people from Africa come through the news agency, through the library. Eco-Eye Green Issues, how are you? I do love that one. It's about mental health issues, and we were talking about that. It's just because they go, how are you? Oh, fine, mate. You know, how are you? I'm absolutely great. Actually, I feel like crap. Okay, I wish I hadn't asked. So, how are you? We tend to come up with names of people. It's a Facebook group at the moment, and people tend to use it. We support like local arts projects like Bright Sparks and stuff like that, and arts cafes, and then people have come through. I'm a great believer that if you haven't got a mental health problem, then you've got good mental health. It's a bit like the autism spectrum, you know. If you're okay, you've got good mental health. You're grumpy on a Monday morning, you're somewhere down here. You know, there's this mental health spectrum. You know. I have something called, I think Churchill used to call it black dog. He used to have this black dog, you know what I mean, that you could see. To me, I have this situation where I see myself walking around the room, you know, and it's just like, this guy here is a Mickey taker. Should punch his head in. This is a good person. You should speak to them. So I'm aware, my own mental health issue is the fact that I'm constantly always aware of how I'm feeling and stuff, you know what I mean? Like my bad days and all that kind of stuff. I say to people, you know, lots of people have got mental health issues that are undiagnosed because it's not extreme enough. But if you're grumpy on a Monday morning, you're somewhere down here. So we deal with those kind of issues, always challenge issues. CAPS, community action photographers. John, I don't want to write anything. Can I just take photographs? Yeah, so what we tend to do, all of our sessions are about the lowest common denominator. So it's about taking a digital photograph with your camera or making a film with your camera. So we'll run a filmmaking workshop with using your mobile phone. You know, we'll do the taster sessions. If you want to become a film reporter or you know, a photographer, then Reportage Club makes lots of contacts with other people that you can go and do courses. So you can do free courses with the WEA, Workers Educational Association. You can go and do free, then slightly paid courses or reduced courses with Adult Ed. So in September, Adult Ed are going to start a specific 10-week citizens reporters course that you can do. But up to that point, I can take anything that's in the Adult Ed booklet, and if I think it's relevant for community reporters, I can joint brand it as Reportage Club, and then those tutors are told that these people are citizens reporters and they're coming through, and they're doing that course because of what they're interested in doing. Yeah. And then we're looking at doing other stuff where you can go and do a filmmaking course that you might have to pay for, all that kind of stuff. Yeah. So, and then CAPS came out that they just want to take your photographs, news photographs, and then the idea is that you can go off and you can ask someone from CAPS to come and cover your event about mental health issues. Okay, so then we've created our own little news team of photographers. DNA, Dad's News Agency, I quite like that. Kind of wrote itself, that one, really, DNA. Proud and Louder, it's LGBT. Everybody know what LGBT is? Yeah, lesbian, gay, bisexual and transsexual. Yeah. Again, trying to help that community. We were the only people who ever filmed the Pride in Leicester and put it on YouTube. The whole of the 3.5-minute Pride March, you know, so we're going to be hopefully making a documentary about it this year. The Women's News Agency is now, we've had our first couple of meetings, and it's called Women's On. We decided to call it Women's On. A bit like the older people, Nancy and Vicky. We want to call it Senior Eye John. Why would we want to call it anything else? Bands and Beats, again, is just about music and entertainment, and we always get people through that as a way in and then channel them off to other people that are doing stuff. Okay. All of these things are pretty standard, all this stuff here. Anybody not know what iPadio is?
It's the first time I've heard
it. Okay, iPadio. Basically, iPadio is, I could do an iPadio with you now, so it's audio without the pictures, so it's like YouTube without pictures. And the idea is that there's a website, so you can phone up from a landline or your mobile phone and ring in and create an interview between us two, or you can use an iPhone app or an Android app to be able to do it, and then I can take a photograph of you, load it up. It'll go onto their website that's in the name of Citizens Eye, but then I've got a player in the Citizens Eye website where these things can come up. So it's actually quite good for working with children and vulnerable adults.